Hello and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. This is an additional video to my patch 5.4 review video, and well, while making that video I realized there was just so much to this game, this gaming experience, that I would have to at some point release an additional video. I didn't want to make another review video until patch 5.5, which is coming around April, I think, May or April. So in the interim, I'm making this unscripted additional video, and I'm going to cover a few things, including Gangos and the situation there, which I hadn't touched upon. But it'll all become clear because I'm going to show you all of this as I go on. So kind of like a walking commentary, kind of review, kind of mix-match video, rather than a scripted kind of review format that I normally do. But I'll try and keep it as short as I can. So, without further ado, let's have a look. And I am sporting some really nice gear here, which I've got all transmogged, as WoW players would use that terminology, transmogrification. But in Final Fantasy XIV, we call it glamour. So these are all glamoured. And this is the Summoner class, one of lots of different classes my main character has now. I'll show you another look at that. That's the weapon. It's Grimoire. And they get a pet, a variety of different pets that they can summon. And the great thing is, I was a bit worried about this particular class because I play on a PlayStation 4 and have a controller, and the idea of having lots of different controls for a pet seemed to be, you know, well, would I need an additional keyboard, USB keyboard, etc.? No. As everything in Final Fantasy XIV, completely streamlined character class, a lot of fun once you click about the how different spell combinations go together and all of these things, which are, as ever, introduced slowly as you level up. So the best way of getting to know a character class is to go from the lowest possible level, which is for the summoner, is they start as an Arcanist right at level 1, and then they get to level 35, and then they get a choice to become a summoner. Unlike other classes, they have 2 jobs at level 35 they can choose from. So there's another reason to start as an Arcanist. One, you could become a summoner, and the other is Scholar, I believe. Scholar, yes, that's the other one. So one is a ranged magic melee DPS, which is the summoner, and the other is a healing character class. Now, so I'm going to switch now to my Bard, and this will allow me to show you, and you'll see me doing certain things that I have discussed in one of the tutorial videos I did. If I can get the right hotbar settings correctly here. And this will allow me then to show you the domain enclosure and everything else that's going on in the area that I didn't discuss in the review for 5.4. So let's go there. We're going to go to, if I can find it, it's at the bottom here somewhere, the domain Enclave. So that's where we're heading now. And this area will be revealed to you during your course of adventures later on. And in the Domin Enclave, I'll show you immediately, there's so much going on in the game. There's so many different things. But I'm just trying to show you a little bit of things that I haven't mentioned before, if you're not aware of them. And if you are, then fine. When you get to this area, there's a couple of quests and things, and eventually you get to a point where you can donate things in this donation basket. and they give you a little bit of extra gil, which is the currency. But you're thinking, well, is that really that important? What does it do? Well, I can tell you, if you donate enough each week, you'll get a series of little mini quests, and these mini quests will then start to develop the Domin enclosure. For instance, I have completed this area called the 10,000 stalls. Now, there was nothing here. It was just broken, damaged bits of masonry and nothing here. Now look at it. So I'm on this quest line. Now, you can only do it once every week. I haven't by any means... I didn't even notice these. Let's see if I can sit down. Yes, I can. There you go. So it's worth doing, because every time you come back through here, and you will be, you've got all of it, you're changing. There's another one there as well, look. That all came from there. And so, yeah, that's a little mini quest that you can find out a bit later on. Now, the main thing that's going on with a lot of people, I don't want to show you this mount yet, because I'll show you that in a bit, and I'll show you how to get the mount. When you're in, I think it was patch 5.1 or 5.2, you start to get introduced to a series of quests that end up in a Domin Enclave and take you to this area, which you access by asking this airship pilot in the Domin Enclave to go to Gangos, which is what I was talking about. Now, Gangos is this beautiful little separate area, and in it you start one of the epic legendary weapon quest lines. Now, when in Final Fantasy XIV, one of the things that will stamp you as a proper Final Fantasy XIV player is to get a coveted Z weapon, and you can get those at level 50 onwards, and OMG, they are the longest grind. They cost a fortune, by the way. You can't do it without a couple of million gil saved up. My bard went through that process, and the end result was this, the Zeta Bow, known as the Yoshi Bow. Yes, I wonder who that is named after, as Yoshi P is the game director of Final Fantasy XIV, as most of us should know by now. So yes, and it is excellent, especially when you fire it. It's one of the most beautiful bows that a bard can have, and all of the jobs have a similar kind of weapon. So they're worth doing, but they are a grind, and in successive expansions and different times, other legendary weapons such as this one were introduced, and for ShadowBringers, this is where the next series of legendary weapons starts, and you will recognize Geralt if you've been doing any of the legendary weapon quests, and I shall show you. So that's the difference. That is the new legendary weapon type, and as with successive legendary weapons, there are different stages to its development, so the look of this weapon will keep on changing until you get to the final stage. So in here you will start that quest line in this area here. Lots of characters you'll be introduced to, and they will then, in 5.3, which I didn't mention, they introduced something they've been working on for a long time called the Bosnian Southern Front. And so we're going to go to the Bosnian Southern Front, and I'm going to show you all about that and explain what's in the Bosnian Southern Front. So here we are in the Bosnian Southern Front. So I'm going to try and explain what's going on in the Bosnian Front. If I bring up the map, you can see this area here called the Bosnian Front, and you'll be introduced to different areas as you level up, following a quest line that was back in where we just came from. So the idea here is to get involved in fates and kill things, which is difficult, so you're tending to look for groups to do it, and it will earn you experience, and these experience points are called metal. So on the right hand side, again, where that resistance rank is, see underneath metal, and then the next rank to get, and you, during the quest line that's here, you will get to resistance, you will need to get to resistance rank 10, which will unlock big group activities, and all these tie back to the legendary weapon quest line, but there are also lots of different rewards that you can get as you go along. So you will get rewards that need to be appraised, and once they are appraised, you will get a whole selection of things that you can add to a satchel, which will give you benefits when you're in combat, especially with the other group members. So for instance, bards can't normally heal, but here I have some healing, which is a cure spell, and then this one is to give me some extra power. You can see this pop up there and there, and there's lots of things like that on the Bosnian Front, because the enemies here and the activities are really tough. But other rewards that you'll get are lock boxes, and you'll get these from doing the fates and getting involved in group activities, and you can take them to the resistance locksmith. Now most of the time you will end up getting a magic prism like that. But one of the rewards you can get, if you're lucky, is this. Yeah, check that out. That's a mount. Now that mount drops in the lockboxes that come from this area in the Bosnian Front. And so, yeah, I was lucky to get one. I've seen more and more people get them. You can get them from the locksmith. Now, another mount you can get, if you look again under the resistance rank, you'll see Bosnian clusters. Bosnian clusters have a chance of dropping from killing the enemies and doing the activities here. And if you take to the resistance quartermaster, you've got a whole load of stuff you can swap it over for. And this one is another mount. It's not the same as the mount I've got. It's a completely different one. But I'm thinking there is a chance that might drop in a lockbox as well, because this Pleasant Dot Parasol, that dropped for me in a lockbox. So I'm hoping you're following all of this. So that's the Bosnian Front. I'm not going to show any more of it. It's for you to explore. I love this little area they've done here. It's really beautiful at night as well. In the previous videos, I talked about crafting. So basically what's happening here is a series of activities, massive activities for lots of people. And what we're doing is basically building the housing that's coming in the new expansion, which is in this area of Eorza called Ishgard. And lots of players have been waiting a long time for additional housing, especially in Ishgard, this area here. And so the whole idea was the firmament complete. So it's actually complete. We completed it. Wow, that's quite exceptional. This outfit is one of the rewards from this area, and you'll get that kind of in the same way, random way that I was talking about the mount in the other area. And it's all to do with creating things and handing them in here, and then you get kind of like a scratch card, and the scratch card can give you lots of different different rewards, and this whole suit is in one of them, one of the rewards. But it's a rare drop, so I was again lucky to get that. Now, these Sky Builder scripts, there's a couple of mounts, there's a whole load of emotes, some hairstyles, some minions, orchestration. So now how do you get those? Well, what you need to do is you will come along here. So this is the diadem. These three, the miner, botanist, and fishers, you can rank them up really well by doing activities, by finding things to cultivate or collect here. It's a big area, and you can fly in it as well. It's great fun. But it is a bit of a grind fest. And once you've got all those items, then you go back to the firmament, you hand those in. You go back to the firmament, you assess them for certain use, the use of them, and then your other specializations here, disciples of the hand, can craft things to hand in, and that will raise their level and also give you the points, the currency, and to get the rewards either from that vendor I showed you, or a chance to get something from the scratch card system that I was talking about. I hope that's all pretty clear, a bit waffly. But anyway, I think at that point I'm going to leave this, because this has been long enough. And hopefully it made some sense, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Until next time, take care.